I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we tabled the consent agenda decision last month to this month, so I have a motion. I will move that. Can I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carol,
Opposed?
just bring that back again for a little discussion. Say that again, please. Consent agenda?
Consent agenda?
Yes, is that, you're voting to put it in place?
Yes.
Okay, I'll have a nay.
You'll have a nay.
Right.
Okay, that is a nay. Motion, number 4, motion to accept the minutes of the regular meeting May 14th and the special meeting May 29th, 2013. Can I add that in the form of motion? Sure. A second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5, paying the bills. Can I add that in the form of a motion?
I'll move that.
Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Ned, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Water and sewer report, there for your pleasure. Correspondence. The town of Delaware announcing the passage of their road use law. And again, if anybody would like to see the correspondence, it's available at the town clerk's office, or I can probably give you a copy of most of it tonight just to pass around if you want to get back to me. Matthew Solomon regarding Peg Mountain, requesting to waive the open container law for the event. Morningside Park Rabies Clinic was rescheduled for Thursday, June 20th from 6 to 6:30 p.m. at Morningside Park Pavilion in Fallsburg. And a letter from Ned Lang regarding the Tusten Local Development Corp. And we are into division reports. Highway, Glenn?
Okay, it's a long one, I'm sorry guys, but I'm just gonna touch on everything. Total diesel use was 1,104 gallons. 821 was highway, 282 was non-highway. Total gas use was 392 gallons. 235 was highway, 156 non-highway. We had 41.25 hours overtime due to paving this last month. Our biggest expense this month was $111,960 to Callahan for paving of Kirk Road and Arena Court. $42,406 to Vestal Asphalt for 1,150 tons of grader patch, and $16,021.82 to Lindy for number 2 crusher run. Some of what we did this month includes, we mixed up the grader patch for patching and paving. We patched Blackalaxon Road, Irishtown Road, and paved a section of Coshecton Turnpike. Replaced motor and pump on spray and water truck. Put 4 recaps on number 18 auto car. Put in 2 driveway pipes, one on Coshecton Turnpike and one on Francis Drive. Both pipes were bought and paid for by the property owners. Patched Arena Court to get ready for paving. Patched upper side of Grassy Swamp to get ready for paving, which we are going to do with our grader and our paver and grader mix. Hauled the millings from Route 97 off the bridge of the 10 Mile River to our yard for use for road repair at a future date. We had some rain damage on the lower side of Grassy Swamp and Coshecton Turnpike, so we regraded and rolled it. Did ditching on Coshecton Turnpike, Hankins Road, and Chalk Road. Cleaned out some storm basins in town. Did some patching on DeMarle Lane. Helped Callahan with the prep work, and we had to provide traffic control for paving on Kirk Road and Arena Court roads. Did some edging on Kirk Road where drop-offs were excessive. Put shouldering machine on truck and repaired road edges on Evergreen Lane and Maple Lane, Lackawaxen, Irishtown, Coshecton Turnpike, and paved sections of Francis Drive. Put up the flags around town, mowed right-of-ways around town for Memorial Day weekend. We're now spreading out of town. Started mowing. Okay, we're only making 2 passes. We ain't cutting them back. We'll do that probably in July or August. Assisted the county for line painting on Main Street, Erie Street, and Kirk Road. Put cross pipe in on Grassy Swamp Road. Spent a day at the old sand pit, fixing some violations we were cited on by the DEC. The pit down there needs to be reclaimed. They haven't been doing nothing down there, and the DEC is getting tired of us not doing anything about it. So they actually want something done, and our permit expires December 31st this year, so we're gonna try to get it reclaimed this year, so we don't have to renew the permit, because it'll give us a trouble on trying to renew it, I think. June 1st, we had spring cleanup day, and we had about the same as we did in past years as far as people bringing stuff to us. The bridge on Swamp Pond Road is in bad shape. I'm gonna actually have the county bridge inspector come and look at it. The I-beams on it are, well, they're probably a 1/4 inch thick steel, maybe even 3/8, and they're totally rotted right off of it. So I don't know what's gonna happen there, but the potential for something to happen. Tony came up to one day, took some pictures and looked at it. And I did talk to the county engineers, and they got a bridge inspection team. They don't normally do town roads unless they're requested to do so. But that is one of my responsibilities, is to watch the bridges, and that bridge, I can't see as being safe in no way, shape, or form. So I think we're gonna wind up doing something to that. I'm supposed to meet with them Friday at 9 AM up there, so I'll know more about it after that.
Will they charge us for that, Glenn?
I don't know if they will or not, but what are you gonna do?
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
I never heard of them charging for it.
Yeah, I don't think they'll charge us, but even, if we don't get them, we'd have to go hire an engineer ourselves and do it. I'm sure the county would be cheaper than
I mean the
hiring.
construction.
Oh, for doing the replacement?
Yeah.
That's gonna be total cost of the town.
No.
That's a
Yeah.
town bridge. It's one of the only town bridges we have. And I think for talking to the county guy, he agrees with me that putting a box culvert in up there is probably the best way to go about it. It's the fastest way to go in, it's easiest, you don't have to hire a bunch of engineers to figure it out, because the engineers already designed the box culvert. And he also told me to keep my width under 20 feet, because once you go over 20 feet, the state comes in and inspects every year, and he says the state will find something wrong every year. They'll make more work, so keep it under 20 feet. So that's not gonna be a problem there, it's a single lane now, so I can't see going any wider than
What's the weight limitation on that right now?
4 ton.
It's 4 ton, and if we put the box culvert in, what would that increase to? Would it be still 4?
80,000?
Oh, that much?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you can get them different categories,
Yeah.
but you have to get prices on them. I mean, I haven't even gone that far. If the county comes and tells me that the bridge is fine, I'll be tickled pink. And if they tell me it has to be replaced, then I'm gonna have to go from there.
No, but I mean, just the weight limitation on on that, if we replace it with a box culvert,
Depending on the box culvert we
Yeah.
put in.
What you buy.
I mean, you could buy one for probably like 10 ton,
right?
or you can buy one for 80,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
There's really no sense going 80,000 because of our roads,
Right.
but
Right.
maybe, I don't know. It depends what the price difference is
Right.
gonna be. I'd rather go overboard than go underboard, especially up there, because they are putting a lot of houses going in up that way. There was, it's kind of slowed down now, but,
In the future.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I also like to put something in that, we'll put it in and we won't have to worry about it in our lifetime. You know, it's no sense putting something in if you gotta go up and maintain it every year or every 5 years or something like that. And those box covers will last. One other thing I got, I see they did put up the Route 97, 52 signs down off the bridge. They were down, Ed Kraus had informed me about it a while ago. I guess it happened back with 15 Main on the stone wall. They made them take them down, and the county actually came and picked their signs up and hauled them away. And there's been problems with tractor trailers not knowing which way to go off of the bridge, so now the signs are back up, I noticed that. And me and Carol talked to the bridge lady down here, but maybe you wanna touch in on that?
yeah, I've got that later on the agenda.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But
Yeah.
what are they forming out right there by the
I'm
15
not,
Main?
I'm not sure what they're doing there. I don't know if that's gonna be a light there.
Has to do with the signaling.
So they're gonna put the light there probably, right?
Okay, water and sewer, Dom texted me late this evening, he has a family emergency, his grandfather's not well and in the hospital, so he is with him, and I don't have a report right now for him, so I will forward that to you as soon as we got it. Building department, Gary.
For the month of May, conducted 19 construction inspections, 1 complaint-related inspection, issued 1 certificate of occupancy, 1 certificate of compliance, issued 10 building permits, including a garage, an addition, 2 decks, 1 electrical permit, 1 mechanical permit, 2 swimming pools, and 2 sign permits. We conducted 2 CO and violation searches, and we collected $2,712.65 for the month. And I attended a seminar in Middletown on pipeline safety training program. That's it.
Thank you very much. Ken?
Well, May is grievance day month, so that was the highlight of the month. We had 10 grievances presented from 8 different owners. General flavor of the day was getting reduced taxes, which is supposed to be about assessment, but nobody remembers that. Interestingly, the grievers came mostly from parcels that did not have assessment changes that I'd sent the notice to, just people that were fishing for savings on their land or house. One repeat griever tried a different company this year since they hadn't received a reduction in court last year. And last year when I was preparing for court, I visited their property and noticed some building alterations, so this year they got a raise. It doesn't look too good for them this year because the form from the new company was not completed correctly.
Okay.
The Board of Review supported the assessments and made very minimal changes to the roll. And now I'm going to prepare the roll for the July 1st publication.
Very good.
That's it.
Busy done. Thank you. UDC. Susan. Hi.
This was a long, long meeting. And a lot of the meeting was about the presentation by the New York City DEP guy named James Murphy. And apparently this is the first time he ever came to give a presentation here. And yet we're intertwined, in the sense that we're using water out of the same basin. So it's very technical. I was going to ask Tony if he had any comments on that particular part of this meeting.
Well, I can just tell the audience that whole video is uploaded onto YouTube. And Tom Murphy is the chief engineer of the city of New York. He regulates all of the flows on Cannonsville on the West Branch and Papacton on the East Branch, as well as Neversink, Ashoka, Croton. So it was, as Sue just said, it was the first time in 25 years that a representative from New York City DEP gave a presentation to the UDC across the street, and then also did a question and answer. Isaac videotaped that in full, so anybody who wants to watch that, they can. My take was two questions that in the past we've had flooding, and I think there were a few representatives that wanted to know from the New York City what that they can do to alleviate any flooding in the future. And as you know, those reservoirs have to be at full capacity by June 1st, and then when some creates a void, that's to basically alleviate flooding if we get rain from, say, June all the way through the fall. The other topic was the fisheries, that everybody knows that this is a magnificent cold water trout fishery. It could even be better if we got more cold water from New York City, so that there were representatives from the Delaware River Club up in Hancock. A few guides were there, and they were asking, is there any possible way that the city can release more water from the bottom? And it seemed to me that the city said, we're here, it's our water, we're here to provide for 8 million people down in the city. So the chances of having any more cold water on the main stem, especially in the summer months, is probably going to be negligible. So but the whole video is there if you want to watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, so that was my takeaway as well, which is that the guy actually said a couple of times, we're not responsible for the health, we're not taking responsibility for the health of the main stem of the river. Their priorities are water quality first and water quantity second, period. So that's where he is. He said they don't have the resources, and their feeling is there's also an issue of not enough water. There actually is that. And that came up later. But anyway, what I took away was that's what he said, and that's where it's at. So who is responsible for the health of the main stem? Because this is important to Narrowsburg, right? And every town that's here along the river. So the entities that you have is the DRBC, you've got the New York State, the National Park Service, you've got the New York State DEC, and you've got New York State itself, which is a member of the DRBC. And it really boils down to, if you're looking at the health of the entire basin, the tributaries, what really makes the river of outstanding quality, it comes down to the DRBC, because they have they will, it's the, what do you call it, special protection waters is what their jurisdiction is. So the meeting was kind of dominated by this, but the guy from the DRBC had an interesting handout. Apparently from 2007 to 2011, they have been establishing existing water quality. It gets technical, there's a very good handout, we could probably get that posted as well online. But that baseline data is incredibly important because it bears on Didymo, it bears on any type of pollution, including from natural gas drilling. So you have a baseline and then you know where you're at, and then, so they did 5 tributaries in our area, and 27 in total. So what I would like to suggest, I have a suggestion, which is that we support the DRBC. They're going through a, they've always gone through a funding issue. New York State doesn't pay them, they all made agreements to pay them, and then nobody pays them, including the federal government. The Senate, federal, has approved paying them. It goes to the House. I think we should support them, myself. Either as the town, we can do what we wish. As the UDC, you might not get full support to do that. And the other thing is Gibson is the guy, right? He's gonna vote on this. He has also supported the FRAC Act, which I think is an excellent thing for us and for everybody. So I'm suggesting that we maybe write letters. I would draft them. I'd be willing to draft them to Gibson, thanking him for supporting the FRAC Act, asking him to recognize our issue here with the quality of the river, and to support the DRBC in their efforts to protect it. So, I mean, that's where I see going forward. I don't know where the fishing people and all, they put so much work into that thermal stress thing. They had good science, and it was just kind of shrugged off.
That's right.
So I think if we're looking to protect the main stem, that's not an effective avenue. They negotiate with the DRBC, and the DRBC negotiates with them. And they've made the flexible flow management plan, and they approved it for another year. So there isn't like there's no negotiation. It's understood. I mean, you can't deny water to all the people downstream here. But I think for us, we would be better off to cultivate a good relationship with Chris Gibson and let him know that we are here, because everybody forgets we're so far west, nobody knows we're here. So if that's okay with the town, I would do that.
That would be great, and then we can bring it to the next board meeting. We're gonna recess this meeting to, I believe,
Okay.
Bless you.
That's
So,
the deal.
so
Yes.
let me just make a point. We do a lot, work with a lot of wastewater treatment plants along the, inside the DRBC. Because they've received a lot less funding than they used to get, let's say, and they're now initiating impact fees. For all these wastewater treatment plants, if they have to expand, they, I know Fallsburg paid them, I think, $46,000 for a upgrade to their wastewater treatment plant, and Thompson paid even more than that. And we've got some other private clients that are also being subject to these fees. So when we support the DRBC, we also need to be mindful that there's a economic impact that they're levying on the towns in the river basin that's really not fair to, you know, the individual towns, because the wastewater treatment plants are really being impacted heavily by these fees, and there's I don't know if there's any set basis for them. I don't know how they come up with these fees, but they're pretty substantial.
Okay, well, that would be worth looking into.
Yeah.
And also, it's good that you brought up the economic aspect of this, because part of this letter would be to quote the national, I still can't remember their name, the people that met down in Matamoros and did a whole study, and they value what we have, well, from the headwaters to Chesapeake Bay at $25 billion in terms of its economic value. So I think that has to be brought to Gibson's attention. We're not talking just as environmentalists. We're talking about people who live here, and we do get flooded, and it does cost money, and what we have is important. So, but I think that's an issue that, as far as a business community, should bring up to them, absolutely. You know, that's, you're entitled to know, what is it?
Yeah.
What is it that you're paying for?
And it's also municipal community.
Yes, municipal sewer, yeah. So anyway, thanks. And then that's the big deal. And then other things, tag grant deadline. Application, I see it's on the agenda, you're gonna talk about it. This year's grant deadline is July 26th. End, finished, I hope. The NPS has statistical abstract giving the number of recreational visits, if that's of interest to anybody here who needs that information. That was a handout. The oral history project, those of you who are interested, this is sad. Apparently, there are hundreds of conversations that were taped, a project that Mary Curtis did on the oral history of our area. And they are at NPS, and they do not have the money to digitize them or make them available. So they remain in little boxes, which they will eventually deteriorate. So anybody who's really seriously interested in history could volunteer, could get in touch with Sean McGinnis. They want to do it, and they are stymied by a lack of staff. So that's that.
How many? How many?
Huh?
How many?
Hundreds. There's 28, it's a long story, Jane, but it's a lot. Mary Curtis started this project. A lot of these people have passed away. Sometimes there weren't releases, and now they don't want to release the conversation, and the person is dead, for heaven's sakes. I mean, you know, but it's still there, and there's still plenty of material. There's a lot of material. And I think it should be released in some form that's usable. For instance, the Visitor Center, or Fort Delaware, or somebody. This is good stuff. So, and then the Sojourn, Delaware River Sojourn starts at 10 Mile River on Saturday, June 22nd. And it goes Sunday to Zane Gray and Monday to Lackawaxen, and then continues down. And last, the UDC is doing its very first 5K race, planned for September 28. Those of you who are into 5K races, it is a big deal to put one on. And they're looking for any kind of help that they can get. They have a wish list. Lori is very organized about stuff like that. So that's it, I think.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Beautification, Jane?
Okay, our annual plant swap was a success. Lots of people come, they bring plants and they take plants, so that was very, very good. Planting has begun. 15 Main has been planted, the welcome sign at the bridge has been planted, the flower boxes at the library has been planted, so that has begun. The Sullivan Renaissance grant that we won was for Main Street planter boxes and benches, and they're being worked on. We have plans to meet with library personnel to discuss the Golden Feather Award, and our plan is to build a natural nature playground outside of the library for children. We plan to apply for a Sullivan Renaissance grant for security because last year we were really hit with vandalism badly. We plan, or maybe Wanda has met with the highway department regarding the trash receptacles that are, not yet, but okay.
Last thing she called me the other day was about a rock. She wants a big ugly rock to put down by the water pipe so it don't get backed into.
Right, that's the last thing on my report is that the water spigot that the town actually did install for us has been bent because somebody has, I guess, driven into it. So we thought if we installed a boulder that would stop that from happening. That's the report.
Thank you very much. Things are looking good, by the way. It's nice to see again. LDC, Andrea?
Okay, I met with Andy Arias, our accountant and auditor for the town of Tusten yesterday, and I dropped off the checking activity of the TLDC account from 2012 from zero balance to February 2013, which he requested, so he's reviewing that right now. He'll get back to us with recommendations before our next board meeting that's scheduled for the 18th of this month. And then we'll report back to you on findings that the board has for that. I called the DEC regarding the environmental justice grants that we applied for, and I'm waiting to hear back from them with a status update. The Norcross and Sullivan Renaissance grants are still pending. I believe Sullivan Renaissance is going to be giving us $500 any day now for the drip irrigation system. Norcross is $500, I think, for general operating for the community garden. That I have down here, the fourth issue, an item is, I went to Home Depot yesterday and was specking out the shade pergola materials list that I have. And I spoke with their manager, and he thinks that he can donate all the materials, which I was really amazed. So I got an email off to him, and this was in Honesdale. Really super nice guy. So hopefully that's some good news at the next meeting. And Willie Falk trucked some compost, which was great, about 10 days ago to the community garden. We're very grateful that he did that, and that helped a lot. And this rain's been fantastic for growing. Absolutely wonderful. And then an update on the balances for the fireworks is at 7:55. I just checked that. I don't know if Jane, you want to meet at the bank and I can write you a check for that. You can check the balance and just make everything
Do you
legit.
have to be there, or can I go?
I have to sign probably for
Okay.
it, so it'd probably be a good idea to just do that in person. That would be my suggestion. And the community garden's at 9:32. So that's about it.
Our next meeting, Andrea, is the 18th, right?
That's what I circulated, yeah.
Okay, 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock.
Okay.
And Eileen needs to be there because she's missed 2 meetings. and
Okay.
they're separate.
Right, and I'm assuming you're gonna be discussing audit at that
We will
meeting.
definitely, that'll be the number one item on the
Okay.
agenda.
Very good.
Okay, let me just add a little bit. I also did a pretty comprehensive review of all the ongoings of the TLDC for 2012, and I'll have it out here for everybody for the next meeting. And I've asked the town board to undertake, some action items that I think should be handled. So we'll wait for Eileen, I think, before we'll bring it up. And, so we have a full board here, and then we'll go from there. But that's going to be at the recess meeting. I think Eileen will be here.
Yeah.
All right, so, and they'll be, here for everybody to read, and we'll take care of those issues and move forward.
Okay, old business, court dais update. We got some new quotes on the, I think everybody saw the, what Ed had gotten a quote on, the new table that will be the dais. It's the most reasonable one that we could find. That cost was $2,660.68, and he just got the other day the price for the top. There's a protective top, and that's $737.28. I have a letter into the Justice Court program, the JCAP system, and they have to approve the change from construction to purchase. So once they do that, then we'll be able to purchase that. Ed, do you want to elaborate on the cover or anything, or?
Well, just that the cover is what I kind of talked to the guy. The top of the line cover was 900 and change. The middle of the line was 720 something and change. And then there was a lower cover, which the top cover will protect the table up to 750 degrees, so we can put chafing dishes on it if we had to. The top cover is lifetime warranty, and it breaks down into 5 sections that are hooked together by magnets. When I got through with him, I told him we were very poor and we were a little town, and he said, I'll give you the top cover for the middle cover price, and I'll give you free shipping. I
Excellent.
couldn't do any better than that.
You always get a good deal then. We appreciate that. So
Oh, and it
that's-
does come in the grain, we can match the table.
Oh, nice.
With the cover will be the same grain as the table.
Oh, wow. Okay. Very nice. Okay, town hall wall caps. Carol didn't put this out because we didn't really have specs. I had a gentleman contact me through Gary, Mr. Larry Mitch. He came down, looked at the wall caps and whatnot, also suggested that some of the repointing needed to be done, and sent me a quote. It's to remove the old parapet concrete cap on both faces of the building. Install pressure-treated lumber secured with appropriate fasteners on top of the wall. Install waterproof membrane under the coping. Install a copper drip edge front and back to prevent the water staining to the building facade. Install a copper coping cap and use copper fasteners. Repoint the bricks around the parapet where needed. Do a complete roof and building inspection while he has the lift. Materials, labor, and lift rental is $5,800. He wants $3,000 down with a balance of $2,800 due on completion. I've asked for several quotes, but I don't feel comfortable going forward with this with our procurement policy until we get 2 other quotes. So we're gonna need to put it in the paper. If we don't get any quotes, then we don't get any quotes, but we have to advertise this.
We don't have a lot of time to go in this season to do this
Exactly. So I'd like to
within the next,
get this out,
as soon as possible.
and if we could get it in the next paper.
Be set for the recess meeting.
Right.
All right, that makes sense.
When's the recess meeting, what's the date?
28th. to Friday,
I would,
so
you know, what I would do is I would use some of his specs for when you put that in the paper.
Yeah,
So you're
that's-
dealing with
yeah,
apples
if
to
you wanna help
apples.
Carol with the specs, and.
yeah,
Yeah.
just give me a copy of what you got there.
Yep, okay. Did I email you guys this?
No.
I didn't, I thought I did. I apologize for
Just
that.
email it to me.
Okay. Glad.
Make it
You oughta,
real quick.
you oughta have them, whoever's doing that too, look at these gutters.
I was gonna say, the gutters
Because-
too,
Both
because we
gutters.
need a lift to look at the
I
gutters.
came down the
Yeah,
other day and
gutters.
looked, and the water, the gutters aren't even working over here, it's all running down alongside the building down here. And it's coming up
We've got a mess
underneath
back
that, the
here.
wall back here is shot from where it's coming through the wall. And they need to get the gutters fixed up there to get the water away from the building.
Right.
Yeah, well, he's up there.
And the gutter down here on this end, down here wasn't working either, the water's
Yeah.
actually running down the outside of the gutter.
If we
We'll include that.
And needs bricks or anything else, I think at that point in time, we're gonna have to move right then and there. Now, with the rollers rain we're having and everything else, you don't know.
Yeah, right.
So we'll just
I
have to
would
keep a
think-
very close eye on things.
I would think so, if you could just get him to do the gutters while he's got the lift here
Yeah,
and stuff.
exactly.
Take care of that, I
So
mean,
you
as
wanna
far as any other
include that,
problems.
and then we can
Gutters are
email
right
him
down
back as well and ask him for another quote including that. So, motion to, direct the town clerk to advertise the bid specs for the wall caps
I'll move that.
and,
I'll second it.
and other work, any other related work. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Just
opposed.
get that to me tonight and I'll see if I can get that done tomorrow.
I'll tell you what,
Yeah,
there you go.
better yet.
Our guy, I think, will be interested in doing that. Give him the bid anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Interstate bridge repair update. Glenn and I went down and met with Carla Madura, the project manager for for PennDOT on this project. And, we brought several concerns. We asked her for a date of completion. She does not have a date of completion yet. She says definitely by the end of summer, but she couldn't do any better than that. So hopefully, as we move along, and we'll get an estimated date that's closer than the end of summer, hopefully.
Sometimes they're there and sometimes they're not there.
Yeah, well, they had a couple of problems. They got held up. One of their trucks delivering supplies and whatnot got lost, so they were waiting. So they couldn't get any work done. So, you know, different things that I guess they've been running into troubles too. So the signage, as Tony suggested, I brought that to their attention to relieve traffic congestions on the local traffic to Main Street, Flats, and Irish Hill. I'd like to also advertise something in the paper to ask the locals to use Erie rather than coming down to Bridge. If you got business on Main Street or the other two, use Erie Avenue and don't, you know, come down Bridge Street to make the left on Main.
That was one of her complaints, is how many of the same cars keep going back and forth across the bridge,
Yeah.
because they're wanting to know what's going on,
Yeah.
and that's not helping traffic situation out.
Who wants to sit in traffic for 15 minutes, go back and forth the bridge? And get out and walk.
Well,
But,
Well,
you know what a
can't
good,
walk.
you know what a good
It's
thought
closed.
might be? And this is what I was thinking, is if you shut down the parking on from here down to the bridge
Bridge
on
Street,
this
yeah,
side,
that's what we
and
discussed
make
as
it
well.
into a 3-lane road,
We discussed that, however, with their traffic signals and whatnot, because that was my suggestion. I wanted to see 2 lanes going down toward
Right.
the bridge. Those who go right stay in the right lane, those who need to make the left turn. But with their traffic control, if you're making the left turn, it's not gonna matter, because when they're bringing traffic across, you have traffic. So it doesn't make sense.
so
And then with their traffic controls
This
with the
20
light,
minute-
it's not gonna be possible.
this 20-minute delay that they're having now is only
Because of
because
the grades.
when they pull a grade up, nobody can be on that bridge. And they can't pull the grade up for more than 20 minutes, supposedly, and they put it down. And she also told us that the grade, as far as when they get done with the bridge, I mean, it's still gonna be a 1-lane bridge for the next 2 years. They're not even gonna work on the bridge for the
Right.
next 2 years. And it's gonna be a 1-lane bridge with lights there.
Right.
I think, it's rough in the beginning because it's new to everybody, but once people start getting used to the situation, I don't think it's gonna be nowhere near as bad as it is.
And I guess the reason why they're, with the grates, they're pulling the grates up and they have men working there. And the problem is they don't have like concrete barriers to protect the guys or the public. So they're afraid of, they won't let anybody on the bridge at that period, because if you make a little bit left turn, your wheel's gonna be down in the open hole. you're gonna be
Or
in the
you're gonna
bridge,
hit
so
somebody and knock somebody
that's,
down.
that's
Right.
their premise behind, they're gonna hold up both lanes of traffic for the 20 minutes.
But if you had a light down here, facing this direction, and it had a green, and then a green with a yellow, or excuse me, a green arrow to the left. And when that traffic flowed, because they can't both go at the same time, when that traffic flowed, that traffic could make the left onto Main Street, and they could go across the bridge. You know what I'm saying?
The only thing I'm gonna argue with you there, Ned, I'm sure they've spent countless hours trying to figure out the traffic pattern
Yeah.
before they put up the lights. And even the brightest ideas coming out of this room tonight, to tell them that that's the way to do things, I mean, I don't know if you get anywhere with it.
And once you get to the point where
You know
we're
what I
gonna
mean?
have a light,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a timed light. So it's not, we're not gonna be backed up past the
None of
Ford
us are
garage like
gonna
we've
get
been.
on traffic control.
So, and I also had, told her, you know, my situation personally, I had the bus down there, I'm held up for 15 minutes in one day, it sets all the buses late. So she was gonna tell the flagman to keep, you know, be mindful of all the buses coming through, and hope, you know, 2 weeks that'll be over. But,
Well, how about
but,
at
and
least
also,
no parking, you know, like on a Friday night, there's a bunch of parking, there's gonna be a lot of fender benders.
Ned, that's been addressed with
Yeah.
the county, the undersheriff, I talked to the undersheriff about it, I talked to Bob Meyer. They know they're supposed to be putting signs up here. Now, I don't know if somebody can motivate them more to
Yeah.
putting these signs up and getting the hell done. I went out and spoke to him, he knew damn well there was a problem. I spoke to the undersheriff, he knows there was a problem.
Yeah.
And he said they wouldn't enforce anything till the signs were up.
Right.
yeah,
So they gotta get off their butts.
yeah. We also have a problem with, people blocking the light here on Bridge Street
That
up
happened
here.
this afternoon.
Because people are they're going,
Sometimes
trying to
it's
go through, and it's slow, and then they get stuck, and they're under the light, so nobody can get through from Kirk to Erie. So, I went over twice to talk to the state police, they haven't been there, so if I don't see them in the next day or so, I'll give them a call, but they need to kind of keep an eye on that, and people need to be mindful. You need to pay attention to when the light's gonna change, you need to stay back from the light.
Well, one of the
And pay
problems I
attention.
saw there too was the traffic's backing up, and when you're coming up Kirk Road, turning onto the bridge, you can't actually see anything on the bridge until you
Correct.
start making the turn, and by
Yeah.
that time, you're in the middle of the
You're in the middle of the
intersection, and you
intersection,
got it
you're done.
blocked.
Yeah,
If we restrict Veterans Park as far as parking and everything else, because with everything else going on, we don't need people going into that, coming out of there, creating another blast into the traffic
yeah, well, we
pattern.
don't have parking down there, there's not supposed to be vehicles down there.
Well,
so-
there's vehicles down there quite
Yeah,
often.
I know.
Well, maybe it's
They
time we
should
put
be,
the
but-
gate across again.
We can't do that because
Because
of,
of businesses behind
utilities
it.
and whatnot, have to get back there.
So I sent out an email to the board with aerial photographs, okay, with those orange and black signs. Now, whose responsibility, is that gonna be the PennDOT, or is that gonna be Town of Tustin to put
It
those up?
depends on where we're putting them, we're putting them on Kirk,
Yeah, that's gonna be,
Then
that's
that'll
gonna
be
be a
town?
town.
That's gonna be ours.
yeah,
All right.
so,
So, I mean,
I don't know how soon I can get them made up. If you approve me getting them, I don't know how soon
I
they
could
can
do
get
that
them.
tonight,
Yeah.
but the thing is that I came up with different places where I think it should be, those signs should be. I think there are about 4 places. The idea is that local traffic has got to be off of Main, and it's gotta be,
Off of
Erie's gotta
Bridge.
be used.
Off the
Erie-
bridge.
Right, Erie's gotta be used because, you know, about 3 people came up to me and said, look, Tony, I went to get my mail, okay? I picked up my mail, I took a right on Main Street, I went down to the blinking red light, okay? And before I got to the blinking red light, I was in traffic for 15 to 20 minutes. They weren't going across the bridge into Pennsylvania, all they were doing was picking up the bail and going back to wherever, Lava, Beaverbrook, or up to School
Correct.
Street. And the thing is that I agree with what you're saying, that the public has to be aware, but, I mean, the thing is, until everybody gets used to not
Right.
going there, there's gotta be some signs there just to use Erie Street if it's local traffic and New York traffic.
Bet they made a left the next time though.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, that's the one
Well,
time
that's
deal.
good.
well, you also
They-
have to
right.
be mindful that it's the beginning of our tourism season, so, I mean, you're taking people that are not familiar with the area, they're on Main Street, they're gonna be doing the same thing, so if we have a couple signs to alert people, hopefully that will alleviate some of the
If you're
congestion.
gonna have those signs made, check for your color combinations, because if it's an advisory sign, I think it has to be, what, yellow and black?
Right, well, we got
We'll
a
have
sign
to be
for county
mindful of
anyway.
that, we just, you know, 'cause that has to be, meet the federal highway codes
Right.
if we're telling them to do anything.
Yep,
And people can use that driveway up behind the bank for a turnaround, that's what I did.
correct.
Instead of backing in.
Yep,
If you're gonna be funneling all this traffic onto Erie Street, you're gonna have to eliminate parking on Erie Street, too,
Yeah.
because that's a one-lane street when people park on both sides.
Yes, it is.
When you get up here by the church and through there, it's one lane.
Yeah, it is.
on
Yeah.
Sundays, on Sundays.
No, today when I
Yeah,
went through
even
there.
today, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
The night of the fireworks, people like to go on that bridge. Are they going to
They're
warn
not
them
gonna
not
be
to
able
go
to.
on?
There's a
There's
sign
no
that just says
pedestrian
nobody
traffic on the bridge at all.
No pedestrian traffic.
Yeah,
It says it on
yeah.
there.
Also, the other thing that I wanted to know, also what we would like, I'd like a sign for is when the people are congesting this area of Bridge Street, people can't get in and out of the library and the town hall parking lot.
You can't get out of DeMello Drive either.
Yeah, so
It's a
just,
mess.
again, we need to put something in the paper to,
Remind them of that, but also if you're gonna speak with the county, maybe you
Yeah.
should speak with Bob.
oh yeah,
Tell them very well that we need a no blocking,
Yeah.
because their responsibility, it's a county road.
Right.
They're the ones who are gonna have to put
They
the
can,
Right.
they can pay the white line there with,
Yes, they can.
just make you stop there so you don't block the driveway.
I mean, we have a traffic engineer, let them use them.
And also to preclude parking from down on Erie Street there, I think is a great idea.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's gonna be a mess on
Yeah.
Friday and
So-
Saturday.
On Erie or on Bridge?
Bridge, I mean, Bridge.
Right, because I had just made the proposal, that triangle between the Interstate Bridge and Bridge Street and also Main, that whole triangle there, just so that you've got ingress and egress and that you don't hit somebody's car, and that, you got guys that are gonna be there for how long? Through September?
No,
There's
yeah, well, hopefully the end of August.
The original proposal was September 6th, and everybody raised hell, for all the businesses.
So-
So then they're supposed to work like at nighttime and stuff.
Well, they've been working Saturdays, and that's one of the reasons they're trying to expedite the finish date. So, and I know that's gonna be a problem for tourism season, it's gonna be a problem on Main Street and congestion and whatnot as well. But it also helps the businesses out, because the sooner they can get done,
Right.
Every
The
day it
better off
rains,
we
that
are.
doesn't help either.
exactly.
You can't weld
Oh,
when it's raining.
exactly, they had
You
tents
can,
up
but
the
you'll
other
get
day
a real
trying to work.
tingly sensation all over
Yeah,
the
they
place.
were
Right up.
trying to work under tents the other
Do we need
day.
a motion for the, for?
I don't think
to
we need a
approve?
motion to
What do you-
approve
Yeah, I don't think
signage.
so, to tell
What do
you
you-
to talk to
are
the
you
county and tell them to get
prepared?
off their butt, I think we should.
Yeah, somebody's gonna have to give me a list of what signs they want.
Yeah,
You guys are talking
I
about
think
putting
motion
signs
to
up
do the
all over
signs,
the
and
place.
motion for you to try
Well, who's on
contacting
the
them.
highway
yeah,
committee?
I'll
Tony and I are on the
contact
highway
county
committee.
anyway.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, Tony and I will meet with
The,
you.
Right, I mean, I sent out what my proposal was, where they should
Yeah.
go. There's somebody on the board might have other
Right.
places where it should go, but it
Just
should
three of us
just
sit down and
make
get it done.
Just make
Yeah.
it painfully clear not to use for local
And you
traffic.
wanna write
to
up
use,
something for-
Erie.
But
Carol,
then
you
you
got
got
the
no
paper as
parking
well?
signs, do not block driveway signs and everything, so I'm gonna need like a total tally on
We'll
everything.
walk around.
right.
That's fine.
Can we put, like, you know, you see sometimes they have those white lines at an angle down on Bridge Street here?
the county has
No
to do
parking.
that.
The county has to do that.
this county road.
Right,
Yeah,
so.
you
Yeah.
have no say on the
Yeah.
road, really.
Carol, what is the final upshot for that bridge? Is that gonna be replaced
No.
No, it's-
eventually?
No, it's gonna be repaired.
But why would it be
2015
taking
totally
2
redone.
years?
They're not gonna do
They're
nothing
not
for
gonna
2
do
years.
anything.
They're not gonna do anything for 2 years?
They're putting the lights up, they're putting the lights up, making it a one-lane bridge for 2 years. They don't have the money to do it.
Yeah. Their scheduled repair was for 2015.
When the light goes up, will it be strictly timed or will it be a sensor system?
Sensor had taken it, sensor and timed combination.
Because obviously sensors would move traffic through if there's flow one way and
Yeah,
not
that's
the
one
other.
thing that we discussed with her as well, because that was one of my concerns, that the light is only timed. You take nighttime, for example, you don't have a lot of traffic, you don't wanna be sitting there for 3 minutes if you don't have to. Yeah, exactly. Barry?
Yeah, just a reminder on the do not block entrance, that they need one there at the public lot and for the bank
Yeah,
down there because that was blocked at the beginning of the week and they were starting on that.
okay.
And then for down behind, down there are a few of us that have storage basements down there that we do need access to.
Right.
So there's a few people that will be driving down there, but other people should not be parking to go swimming and that sort of thing.
Yeah. I try to go down and, if I see somebody down there, I try to talk to them about it and have them move, so.
This isn't even the busy season yet.
Not yet.
Can wait till Landers
So-
Campground's going.
If you guys are gonna meet, get the signs situated, and then get back to me with a list. I'll call up the county, and I'll talk to Bob Meyer about that.
Yeah, give them another shot.
If you wanna get,
I might as well come and meet with you guys downtown here somewhere, and we can actually do a physically walk it through.
yeah, do a write-up,
If you pick a time,
You tell me, I'm always available.
do a write-up for Carol to get in the paper.
Monday, you wanna do it tomorrow? I mean,
Okay.
it's fine.
Sounds good.
I can't be there tomorrow. I'm buzzing around. And Friday, or no, Thursday. What about Thursday?
Thursday works for me.
Thursday has to be early morning. early morning, like 9 o'clock, you know, 8:30.
Early, 9 o'clock?
You know, as a fishing guy, well, you're right. The thing is sometimes I get back at like 11 o'clock. But
I'll pull out on my driveway every morning at 4
as a-
AM. Let's do it then.
9 o'clock?
9 o'clock on
Town hall.
Thursday?
Glenn calls me at 5 o'clock in the morning.
I see his emails, but I
And
didn't
she
think
answers
that.
on the first
I
ring.
do.
Right, but I didn't think that you had calibrated your computer. These are like 312, you know, and 502 and stuff like that.
Do you want a display ad in the paper so we can
Yes.
kind of write it out?
So
Yeah.
Thursday morning, 9 o'clock, we'll meet right out here.
That's good.
Okay, good.
Okay,
Excuse me,
and,
may I ask something?
yeah,
About bridge stream parking, I may have missed the discussion. Are you planning on keeping the Chinese side, the Chinese restaurant size, which is available for parking right now, still open for parking?
they're gonna discuss that Thursday morning.
Shall I discuss it with you, gentlemen?
That's actually gonna be a county issue. That's a
Yeah.
county road. The town really does no
We
control
have
over
no
that.
say over that, it's
But
not
if
our
you,
property.
yeah, if you guys wanna discuss it and then get me a list and whatnot, and then
Yeah,
I
you
can
can
ask
try.
the county, so. So motion to approve signage that they,
9 o'clock Thursday morning here.
Yes, thank you.
Tony, Ned, and Glenn, Tony, and Ned meet on Thursday morning to approve signage that's approved, as well as a box ad to go in the paper. With town clerk will get that in ASAP.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Carol, you putting that in the, does that go in the Democrat too?
I think it'd probably be a good idea to do
Yeah.
both.
Both.
Yeah, do
Because
both papers.
the Democrat, I mean, gets out, I mean, most of the town people are already caught on to what's going on.
Yep,
That way we can catch the people out of town.
exactly, exactly. We want to try to reach as many people as we can. Okay, discussion regarding the DEC licensing opt-out.
You're up.
Okay. The town in the past has issued hunting, fishing, and sporting licenses in general. The past 2.5 years roughly, and I checked with the deputy clerk on this as well, because she was in office for 8 years. In the past 2.5, 3 years, there has been no one in the office to get a license. The amount of money that it costs for the license and the amount that the town itself will get in return is very minimal. And we have to keep equipment here for them. We are responsible for, if anything happens to it, if we have to replace it, you're probably talking a little bit of money, and you're not gonna make that up in your license cut. DEC also issues license online. Most of the private businesses in the area, sporting goods shops and a few other places, you sell licenses as part of their business profit, under license with DEC. DEC has now notified us that they are going to a new vendor that is going to issue all new equipment, new computers, new screens, etc., tie-ins, whatever they need to have, to issue licenses. Realizing that people can get them at sporting goods stores and also online, they have allowed an opt-out for the towns that feel that they do not want to take on this particular change at this time. In order to get the opt-out, however, we have to pass a resolution, town where we have to approve that they do opt out. If down the road the town feels that they want to start that again, they can, but the deputy clerk and myself have recommended that at this time, the town opt out of this particular license issuing program. And I sent that information to the town board, they've had that for a couple months.
I agree with that, Carol. I mean, why are we in business to compete with the local business people? And I didn't even know you could, just so you know, in all the years I've been hunting. I didn't even know you could come into the town hall.
Yeah, I was town clerk for 5 years, and it was very rare that people came in. I used to sit Saturdays to accommodate people coming in, and I finally gave up sitting Saturdays because you didn't get anybody. And that you make $1.
Right.
You know, you can sell a $100 license to somebody, and the town gets $1 for the work, so.
Plus you have to have separate bank accounts and everything
Yes,
else for that.
yes, you
Oh,
do.
and
It's
they
not
have
worth it.
access to your
Yes.
bank
And
account
have
as well.
access,
Yeah.
yes.
Yep.
And most people have broadband now, so they can get it online. I mean, the
Right.
thing is that most state agencies, you could just get your fishing license or your hunting license.
We get the lifetime, that's what I
Right.
get.
Okay,
I'll
so
make that.
everybody's, that's
yeah,
in the
wait.
consent agenda, so
Oh, okay.
we don't need to worry about that yet. Just a note, I have in the consent agenda as well, to recess the meeting for the purpose of declaring lead agency. We declared our intent to declare lead agency the last meeting. This will be to recess the meeting, it's within that time frame, so that we can declare lead agency. And at that meeting, we will also set the public hearing for the zoning amendments.
Carol, I just looked at my schedule. I'm gonna be away on vacation, but I'll be back either July 1st, 2nd, 3rd. If we can recess it to either July 1st, 2nd, 3rd. I'd like to have a full board.
Hold on one second, let me look.
Well, you're on a time frame here, so
Yeah,
you really can't go messing around too much with your dates.
Just a couple days.
It's just a seeker.
are you gonna be out that whole week?
Yes.
Okay. We can't do it the week before, Carol?
I'll ask him. What date
Like
were
the
you looking at?
21st? Can we do it like the 21st?
No, because your
No.
30 days is not up.
Till the 28th,
We have to
okay.
have the areas around us on that intent letter.
Okay,
We have to give them the full 30 days.
Okay.
And if they decide, if there's an issue with that return, then there's a little bit of a different process. But at the June 28th meeting, that's the 30 days, number one. And then your clock will start as far as the process you have to follow under
But you're only
secret.
talking 3 days later.
You know, I don't think it's an issue, but I'll check with him. So
Okay, so-
what date were you looking at then?
1st, 2nd, and 3rd of July is fine by me.
I can do the 1st,
First is fine with me.
Okay.
so that'll change that resolution.
So that's Monday the 1st?
July 1st,
It's
That's
Canada
a-
Day.
What day is
Yep.
that?
Monday.
It's a Monday.
5 PM, good for everybody? I made it early because we're not gonna have a lot of business, we have like 3 things to discuss and, you know,
Yeah.
so that way we can be out of here.
5 PM?
Yep, okay. Alrighty, tag grants available from the UDC, as Susan stated, and I would like to, 2 things. Tag grant this year, we're running into some issues with our timing on the zoning rewrite. I wrote the grant to cover Bill Plummer's expenses, our consultant for the zoning rewrite, as well as the printing and CDs of the zoning once it's complete. Because of all these timelines and whatnot, and Bill had some family issues and whatnot, we're running into time issues. And I'm not so sure, the UDC may honor the grant based on our intent
Yeah.
to get the project completed by date, but we're obviously not gonna make the July, I think, what is our date, Carol, July 26th? Is our
What is
cutoff date to have it
Family's
completed.
reasons is why Palmer can't get his work done.
That's, yeah,
What is this,
some of it, and
what is part of our contract to him say?
I'm gonna be going over that with Jeffrey as well.
Yeah, I think we, you know, this is,
Because
we
I-
lose money because he can't get something done. I
Yeah.
want,
That's not, it shouldn't be our bad.
no, it
Yeah,
shouldn't be
no,
ours to take.
I agree, and, so, I need to speak with Jeffrey about that.
How much money are we talking about, Carol?
I can't remember the total amount of the grant right now.
Well, he was 4,000 and change
Yeah,
alone.
yeah, it's somewhere probably between 5 and 6, I think.
That's a
By the
nice chunk of
time-
change.
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
because I priced out binders, instead of doing, bound books, we're gonna do binders, that way we don't have to reprint every time we have an amendment to the zoning law, that way we can just take those pages out and change them. And then, CD copies, so that people can have them digitally if they need them.
And when's the public comment for the change that's
We're
coming
gonna
up?
set that, at the July 1st meeting. We'll set that public hearing, so.
So we could still be on schedule then, right?
Possibly, we could have it done, but the problem is with the UDC grants, the tag grants require that you submit proof of paid bills. So, like I said, they may honor it because we're in the process, we will be complete, but we won't have had the,
Yeah.
the
final
actual
product.
printing done. So,
But that could be pretty quick, the printing, I mean, that could be
oh,
quick
yeah,
turnaround.
yeah, but, so that's where we stand with that. The, new tag grant, I've had some thoughts. The Emergency Management Committee, we've met several times. We can do some of the, okay, you have this emergency and these are the steps that we need to take. we can write that kind of stuff up. Where we're having an issue is the FEMA and CMO stuff. It's extremely technical. The town of Lumberland just redid theirs. They hired Barton and LaJudas to do their emergency management plan. And that committee has recommended that we, get a grant and
It's
have it
becoming,
written
yeah.
professionally.
Yeah,
It's
it's time we do it.
beyond the layman to write this. So that's what I would recommend writing the TAG grant for, is the emergency management plan.
I would say that
So-
makes sense.
So you would
Anybody else?
write the grant
They would
for,
write the grant for it.
who's they now?
No, I write the grant.
Oh, you write the grant,
I write the
but
grant
that's
for
for
the
Barton
UDC.
to do the study.
Yeah, and then if we're awarded the grant, then they would, they
Yeah.
would
And
pay.
they would they would put the plan together.
Put the plan together.
No, not the UDC.
No,
They would
no,
give,
or
they
Barton
would
to
give,
do
yeah,
the
well,
funds.
whoever we would hire, yeah,
Right.
that would have to go out to bid and whatnot, but yeah. So,
So in order to get, in the future, if we had another disaster, in order to get the FEMA money, we have to have an emergency management plan in place that'll meet their standards,
Right.
right.
which are technical.
And
Yes.
what did Lumberland, as far as their grant from UDC, how much did it cost when they did their
I don't
emergency
know.
plan?
They're in the process of that now.
Okay.
So I don't know what their grant amount was. I'd have to look it up. But that's online. You can go to the UDC and
Right.
get the grant amount, so.
Right.
Yeah, but, yeah, I'll certainly be sitting down with, the town of Lumberland and,
With Nadia?
yeah, with Nadia
Okay.
and going over exactly, what we'd need.
So what's the next step then, Carol? You would,
The next step is I just wanted ideas, if anybody else had any ideas as to what to write the TAG grant for. If you guys all are on board with the emergency management, then we'll go with that,
Absolutely.
okay?
the only thing I would suggest is that we somehow get a emergency generator for the town hall. That's
I
of
agree.
size.
But TAG grants are technical assistance, they're technical, they're not
No bricks and
building,
mortar.
they're no bricks and mortar.
So if you said we needed, no, if we, in that grant application, we said that's one of our plans is to install that infrastructure, then
They
we
won't
would.
fund it.
They won't fund it,
No.
but then we could go out for another grant or just pay for it ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm just suggesting you do have a motion approving what you're requesting, because UDC usually likes to have
Right,
that on
yep, yep, I was getting there.
Okay.
All right.
I'll make the motion to write the TAG grant for the emergency management plan. Can I
I'll
have a
second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Okay. Discussion on the bailiff. I was gonna scan this and email it to you folks, but and I was gonna copy it, but I decided not to, because much like,
Yeah.
the other gentlemen's, these are all of Dominic Fontana's credentials, if you'd like to.
I
Go
read
through them?
I know
Okay.
You gave them to me, they were in my packet.
Okay. They are quite extensive. He is volunteering to do this for no compensation because he is a retired city police officer, so he can't work for another municipality and receive pay for it and still receive his pension. So it's kind of a one hand washes the other, much like George's work. George is gonna perform the training of the bailiffs for us. Dominic will be able to do that as well. He's willing to work as an alternate, or if we need help with parades or whatever, we can put him on for that.
Yeah.
Because they're technically constabulary. And it helps him keep his certification, and we get the benefit of having him on board as well, so. So just so everybody's up to speed, if anybody has a problem with that, we'll pull that out of the consent agenda. Okay. And the crime insurance through NYMER, got that quote finally from them. We were paying for bonding $1,700, and through CNA Surety bonding, you didn't have some of the people on that needed to be on, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to move to this. And the crime insurance will cover more people, and we have, some of them are for larger limits. Their quote was $2,080, so it's basically $300, almost $400 more, and
More than last year, huh?
it's $400 more than last year, but we have more people covered and better coverage.
Yeah.
And another benefit to moving with NYMER on this is they don't cover the individual, they cover the position. So when you get a newly elected town clerk or a newly appointed bookkeeper or supervisor or whatever, somebody has to keep in mind and remember to get that new person bonded. And there are credit checks and stuff too. So if you get an elected official that can't make a credit check, you're gonna have an issue. This doesn't require that. It covers the position and whoever's in that position. So,
Makes more sense.
yeah, so you don't have to think about it. It just goes from year
It's
to year.
covered.
So we're only spending $400 more.
Correct. So I will need a motion to authorize me to obtain that crime insurance through NYMER for a cost not to exceed
I'll make that
$20.80.
motion.
Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Just let me, one question.
Yep.
What is the limits of that insurance? Is it $1 million or something?
Nope,
Bless you.
it's based on how much cash and checks that each individual would be handling at any given time.
So that, and
So-
you know that because
Correct.
that's historic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we based it off of what we had and increased some and whatnot, so just on
All right.
what we had had.
Then I'm an aye.
Okay. Okay,
You know you went past public comment.
oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I did. I was looking at new business and, yeah, so I moved the public comment period up to before the consent agenda to give you, the public an opportunity to, speak on anything that was in the consent agenda. And, it was something the school district had done years ago and I really liked and appreciated as a member of the public, and I thought it might behoove us to move to that.
Have to change motion 18. The date is wrong.
Yes, we'll change that, yeah. And so we'll change that before we adopt. So, any public comment?
You'll be on something else besides you.
Sure.
Is the design committee within budget on the Esplanade project?
Yeah, they have to stay, Chasing can't go outside of that. It's what they bid is what they bid. That's all we're gonna be billed. So. Star?
Is the town able to make some kind of an announcement about this Main Street Matters project that Benjamin Moore Paint has sponsored? I only found out about it, I read it in the paper, but then somebody else called and said, oh, we just heard about it today. So is there any way that the town can promote Narrowsburg voting on this, or get the?
We can put it on the website.
Yeah.
Sure, I mean, I know people have sent emails, chain of emails to their own lists and stuff
Right.
like that, so that everybody's aware to vote, and you can vote every day.
Every day.
Right.
And from every computer that you own.
Right.
It just sounds like a good idea because you've got free upgrade, basically, if you
Yes.
win. And I know
Yeah.
Roscoe did this with the, Trout Town, and it was a real
Right.
big success, so.
Barry, do you wanna speak to it?
Yeah.
Since you nominated us, thank you very much.
Narrowsburg is one of 100 towns across America and Canada that was nominated to receive and be part of this program. We have through the month of June, you can vote once a day through that time, and they will be choosing on July 4th 20 towns out of the 100. Just being part of that is, I think, really great for our town to be part of. But also too, then, they will then come through and paint. They'll send all their consultants and work people to come in, replace shutters, rails, everything to make town look great. And with our history and stuff that we have, it only will, I think, be a major asset to ours being on there. You can go to Benjamin Moore. There's a place where you can write comments about town, why it should be nominated. But if you go to www.paintwhatmatters.com, it takes you right to the site. You'll see a blue map of the United States. You click on New York. Off to the left, it'll list the 4 towns in New York that were nominated, Narrowsburg being one. You click on Narrowsburg, it says vote now. You click on that, you're in. And it's done. And so pass the word, Facebook to all your friends and emails, that sort of thing. I mean, we've got people from all over the world supporting us. So the more the better, and we just gotta make that 20%. We have very good odds. So let's get the support out there.
Barry, did you contact the newspapers? That would
Probably be a great community, in their community events part of the newspapers to keep that going throughout June.
Right, yeah, talk to Jane Bollinger, and, yeah, we're trying to get it out there as much as possible.
Radio stations.
go with it a lot.
I'd
So-
almost like to see a banner. I mean, that's a great thing. I saw it, I think yesterday on emails or something.
We put even a banner.
Anything, great, I mean, we could use it, and, you know, helping all of Main Street, and, you know, the Arts Alliance, which is our last standing hotel and historic building, to get that totally redone would be fantastic, and all the rest of the buildings. We're making an impact in the community and for the county, and I think it'd just be wonderful to be part of this program and get it all taken care of for free.
It would be awesome. I'm hoping. Courtney?
Yeah,
Thank you, Barry.
I just want to suggest to the town that a printed and well-designed postcard so that all the merchants everywhere in the town of Tusten can have these to give out to visitors, because visitors come into town, they don't know anything about this, and it's kind of a word-of-mouth thing.
We're trying to get things printed up and put in each bag in each store as people make purchases, that they just get dropped in.
But a postcard is something that could be quite beautiful that they would want to save. A flyer is something that people will just end up burning or throwing away, so. And they're very inexpensive, like postcard.com. There's a bunch of them, and they could be really beautifully designed and then have just all of the information to hand out for everybody. Secondly,
Yeah, that's probably time-wise, yeah. Yeah, we only have 2 weeks before we left, so.
Is there only 2 weeks left?
one more thing. I just would like to know about the protocol for the 4th of July parade. Mildred's Lane and the Mildred Complexity are making a float, and I think some other people around the neighborhood are making floats, and we're trying to.
To the Marysburg Fire Department about that.
Okay, do we need any kind of permit, or are there?
The fire department.
We'll set it all up.
Thank you.
Bernie? Let's hear it, Bernie.
What's up?
Are they gonna paint the railroad bridge?
I don't know, are they? I forgot about that issue, it's so old.
Kenny, just hit him, will you?
Is it,
The governor was napping and now you
what,
woke him
wait,
up.
wait a minute. Talking to me.
Shut up, you old fool.
Now, what's going on with the bridge?
I told you.
I was
quiet.
asleep. You mind?
Nothing
This
new.
is the quietest meeting I've ever been to.
Now you're complaining about it's too quiet. You can't please you, Bernie.
Well, we demanded that it become quiet. Apparently it worked.
Now you're falling asleep.
Congratulations.
Nothing new as of yet, Bernie. Thank you.
What happened to the bridge? Anything?
No,
I mean, I forgot about it. I was hoping somebody else would pick it up.
I do have one other item that Carol just handed to me tonight. It just came in today. The court case that we were worried about with the gentleman that got hit
Yeah.
4th of July 2 years ago has been dismissed.
Oh, good.
So,
Not settled, just dismissed?
dismissed.
Good.
So,
Chuck has a
not an
question.
issue. Chuck?
Before you move on to the consent agenda, could you just explain that a little better? Because I see it says 14 to 23, but we just discussed 15 and 16 at length. So I'm just wondering, like, that dialogue, that interesting dialogue that happened on those two will now not happen anymore because they're just
The
being.
consent agenda is basically, if you had your discussions prior, and then you can move the whole list and second the whole list. Everybody votes at once, and it's done, rather than just being redundant and reading every single one and calling for a motion and a second on each
The
one.
only thing that's being changed is you're not making a motion, you're still having the dialogue?
We're still having the dialogue. Any board member that feels that they might vote against something or wants more discussion on it, if it's not listed in the discussion items, then they can ask for that to be pulled out, and it will be pulled out and be discussed. So,
So just like we did on 15 and 16, which was eliminating, you'll be going through each number.
yeah, so any board member at any time, prior to adoption of the consent agenda, can just pull it out and it'll be
So the
discussed.
only thing that's changing is you're
Not
not
big deal.
saying, I make a motion,
Correct.
I second it.
Correct, it's
That's
just,
all.
it's streamlined, it's timing, it's not staying here for 15 minutes if we don't have to. So, that's all. We need to, okay, the item numbers are going to change. They will be item numbers 17 through 25.
Carol, also the public hearing and proposed zoning law amendments, is that, what's the date on that?
What number?
15.
Oh, we didn't do 15, actually, because I told you before, we're gonna, we pulled that, we're gonna make the public hearing announcement on the recess meeting.
Right.
Okay.
So,
On July
okay?
1st.
Okay.
Yeah,
Liberty Iron Works, Carol?
yes.
All he said, sign that, get it to him as soon as possible. There's a window between the time he finishes at the dollar
I'm
store
gonna
out in
sign
Bethel.
tomorrow.
and
Send me an
get it-
email to remind me, and I'll get
Okay.
it done tomorrow. Then we're gonna change, number 18, the motion to set up a special meeting. We're gonna change that date to July 1st at 5 PM to declare lead agency on the zoning law amendments. So can I have a motion to move items number 17 through 25?
Well, just discussion on 19 and 23, when do I want to bring that up? When we
Okay,
have
you wanna
discussion?
pull those?
Yeah, I just wanted clarification, I don't know if I have to
Okay,
pull the
well,
whole
no,
thing.
don't pull them, just, we'll discuss them, go ahead.
Okay.
Carol, that's just what I was asking. Are you going to be going through point by point, or are you going to lump them in and just say, we approve them?
They're all gonna be approved at once.
But are you going to discuss them?
You just asked for them to be pulled out and discussed.
So unless someone asks to be pulled out, then these town board meetings are no longer discussing town board matters.
We ju-
Is that, but, I mean, you just answered my question incorrectly unless I phrased it
No,
wrong.
because I had discussion items listed first, prior to the consent agenda. So they're still being discussed. If anybody wants to discuss something else.
Unless Ed says I want to discuss them, aren't going to be discussed. They're going to be approved.
Correct, the board has already had the information for 2 months.
Yeah.
But the community won't be allowed to listen to the debate or the conversation or the dialogue about them.
We've had prior conversation and dialogue about them.
But let me just add something.
Because I did vote against the whole consent program, but anyway, be that as it may. But when we have the public comment, I just want to, I think we should make it clear that if any of the public wants to discuss any one of these issues, they have a right to do that and bring it to our attention, right?
Well, that's why I put the public
That's what
comment
I'm saying.
period first, so
Just wanna
that they
make sure we're all on
can
the same-
say something about
Make sure Chuck
those-
understands that too.
Sure, yeah.
So if you, Chuck, or if I'm in the, I'm not on the town board anymore, and I want to discuss number 20, and I bring that up, then the board is mandated pretty much to discuss that with me as a public person.
Well,
So the protocol's
excuse me.
changing is really what's happening. The public has to
The
bring
pub-
up matters as opposed to the board bringing up the matters.
The
So
public can bring an item up that if they want to comment. Public comment is just that, it's public comment. Public comment is not intended to have a discussion or a debate with the public and the board. That's not what public comment's intended for. If you want to call the Association of Towns or whomever else, it's never what it's been intended for. Public comment period is a grace given by a board to allow the public to speak, so.
So you bequeath us the right to privilege to speak. So number 19, the container law, unless somebody wants to talk about it, you weren't going to discuss it in front of us.
Basically, what it means is this, I mean, it seems like the board is being very gracious in the way that you're structuring this, because the board is giving the public the opportunity to go through all these consent item agendas here, whereas usually in most meetings, public comment is reserved until the end, after all resolutions are passed. That's the way it's usually structured.
Oh, but it's also structured as we get to hear your conversation and your dialogue and your
And you'll continue, and I agree, and you'll continue, but the thing is, it says here.
How will we continue?
Can I finish?
Okay,
Can
I just reiterate, this is not a dialogue between the
No,
public and
because
the
he
board.
seems to be
Correct, you may
he's got a
finish,
question.
and then public
Okay.
comment time is over.
But it says here, and I'll read it to you. A consent agenda may be presented by the supervisor. Items may be removed from the consent agenda on the request of any one member. So it's not a majority. Any one member can request to have that specific item removed. Items not removed may be adopted by general consent without debate. Removed items may be taken up either immediately after the consent agenda or placed later on the agenda at the discretion of the board. So there's no majority. If Tony Ritter wants to remove that item, if Norm Meyer wants to remove it, we remove it. That's
So I
it.
would suggest a public comment at the end as well. And if there has to be a public comment, I would like to give Ken Bain a real compliment for his work here for however many years he's been. I know he's actually Tusten's secret weapon in terms of housing competitiveness. And I was glad to see he decided to do another 6 years.
Okay, so Ned, if you would like to discuss number 19? Let's
Yes,
just
open
pull that and
container law.
we'll
Yep.
move 19 to the end. So number 19 will be moved to the end. And anything else?
And, no, let's see, no, that's fine.
Okay, so can I have a motion to accept numbers 17 through 25 excluding number 19?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Number 19, motion to lift the open container law for the duration of the event Pig Mountain as per the agreements offered in the letter dated June 7th, which you've all received from the event organizer, Matthew Solomon. Discussion.
I have a liquor license. I don't understand how he can get a liquor license. I mean, I'm for this Pig Mountain. I think it's a wonderful thing. I just want to make sure we're all good. But, you know, when I have a liquor license, so there's certainly certain areas that people can go with open containers of them selling it. How, is there somebody that can say all of Main Street is open, it's good for selling liquor?
The portions that it's closed to, that's what we would give the waiver on. Only those portions where it's closed.
But how about the liquor authority? That's what I'm saying.
That's what we have to, if we have to resolve this, we have to have a resolution saying that we're willing to waive that open container law, and that goes to the state liquor
Okay.
authority.
I
So
just want to make sure we're all on the
yeah,
same page
oh,
here.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
'cause-
okay.
Yeah, all right, that's good. And then,
So-
and so then, they actually have a bar on Main Street? Is that the idea?
Basically, yeah. That's what they did last year.
I think it's great. I just want to make sure that we're all safe.
Yeah, it worked quite nicely last year. I didn't think there were any problems. I was down
No.
there from the better part of the afternoon
Okay.
and.
I just want to make sure we're good.
Yeah.
That's something
Yeah.
I'm happy.
So, okay. All right, so can I have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that brings us down to,
21 used to be 25.
we don't have an executive session, and board comment. Ned?
Oh, fireworks. Jane and I met today about fireworks. I really want to continue this thing. My companies have guaranteed the fireworks. And so we need as much support. I think we're a little shy on the funds right now. It's a $7,200 total item. And I think we have, what do we have, Jane, with the money from LDC? About 3,000. So, you know, I want to keep it going, you know, and I don't want to have it cost my companies thousands of dollars. But anyway, so just, you know, be mindful of that. If anybody has a business person or business interest that this would be helpful to, and they could make it a better event, that would be wonderful. And they're going off this year on July 4th. And there's been a lot of discussion that they maybe should go off on Saturday. So we want your input on that also. If it's like, this is going to be great, it's a 4-day weekend, but maybe we would hold more people here if we held it off till Saturday. But Saturday's the rain date, is that right, Jane?
Yes, I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is.
I think it's also important to see what your competition is, whether Woodlock has fireworks, Bethel Woods.
Monticello
So you don't wanna,
Raceway.
you don't wanna, you know, compete,
Yeah.
you wanna try to, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the Raceway has fireworks
No,
on the
it's
4th of July.
But that's lazy way. I mean, just your like.
Holmesdale is your biggest It's always the third, usually.
Yeah.
It's been the third, I have to check them.
That's where I used to go every year.
Because we were typically the fourth, so if people stayed away from that.
So the date that you booked them for, is there a concrete date right now? Is it the 4th?
It's in writing, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
With the
it's-
rain date.
It is the 4th.
Yes, with the rain date of Saturday, but, you know, we're looking for input from the business community, because some people were saying, you know, that's a bummer because we're not gonna hold people here now.
So you're
and-
saying for the future?
For the
not this
future, yeah.
event, Yeah.
Yeah, oh, this
Gotcha.
time it's set in stone,
Okay,
that's
yeah.
it, that's all there's to it.
Yeah, I unfortunately will not be here for the 4th. I will be in Gettysburg for the 150th
Now, fireworks
anniversary of
down
the
there?
Civil War.
There'll be plenty of fireworks, I'm sure.
There may be, I don't know. At least cannon fire.
Yes, yes.
Saturday.
Saturday the 6th.
That's all, Mike.
Okay, Tony.
Nothing for me?
Ned, Norm?
One thing we should be looking at some point in time with this bridge project and everything, more on the traffic control for all these things going on the weekends, because now with this bridge on top of that, and, you know, they love to park up every place they could on these places. They're gonna have to be a lot stricter on what they're doing
As far
on
as
these Main Street activities, when they close the Main Street.
Yeah, actually, when we spoke with Carla on that, she said it may actually alleviate some congestion and problems.
Okay.
So, you know, that, that
right.
wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing, that Main Street was closed.
All right, that might be a plus then.
Yeah, no left turn.
Yeah.
No, nobody coming out this way.
All right, but I'm just
It
mindful of the
alleviates
fact
a
that they
lot
gotta
of the
stay
issue.
off Bridge Street when
Yeah,
they're,
so,
all right, just as long as we keep an eye on it, so it
Okay.
doesn't.
so, and I have nothing. Thank you all for a very,
Joe, just one-
successful board meeting.
One last thing I forgot to
Yes.
mention. On the Big Esplanade
Yep.
thing with all the permits, do we need, or does Chazen need, because I read through the whole document,
Mm-hmm.
it's good, and he's pretty thorough, but do we need to get permits from the county or the state? Is it, are we on county and state property there that the Esplanade flows through?
He's talked to everybody that he's supposed to, apparently. I couldn't tell you, I'm not an expert in that area. This is their game. They've sent letters out to every agency that we're supposed to. He has not heard back from everybody though. He's made phone calls, he sent emails and whatnot. It's kind of like pulling teeth, he said, trying to get some responses from some of these folks. So I don't know, you know, how to task them with, they've done due diligence, I don't know what else to do.
Well, there's a meeting tomorrow night, right?
Correct.
So maybe we'll bring
Yes.
that. I won't be there.
So-
I've got to be with my dad.
Yeah.
So if you could bring that up to him, Jane, please, or Norm.
Yeah, that was actually, when I read through the list, that was one of my concerns as
You
well.
got,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
got nothing until you have written consent.
Right.
Right.
And with the
Yes.
bridge being the way it is, if they
Yeah.
had ever had to move it,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Right. I think in their quote, though, that it was to assist in, yeah,
Not obtained.
not obtain. Yeah.
Mistake, we should have went for obtained.
Yeah, so,
I don't know what question of wording there.
so, at any
Live
rate,
and learn.
I will move to recess this meeting to July 1st at 5 PM. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Speak up now, Bernie.
Hey, Larry, talk to me about it. How did I get next to this guy? Okay.